So we begin, let's do flexors first, okay? Okay, so on the arm and forearm, this guy, right, this is your biceps brachii. It has two heads. The lateral head is going to be the long head, and this is the short head. Okay, so biceps brachii, lateral head, long head, short head. Deep to biceps brachii, we have another muscle called the brachialis. So you can see the brachialis here. You can also take this away and expose the brachialis. So both of these muscles, the biceps brachii and brachialis, will flex the forearm. But the biceps brachii also can supinate because this one has the insertion onto the radial tuberosity of the radius, and so the radius is allowed to spin. So this is also has a supinating action to it. Brachialis does not. So brachialis actually inserts onto the ulna and only can flex. On the back, we have our triceps muscle. So there's three heads, right? Triceps means three heads. The one that's most lateral is called the lateral head. The next really big one is called the long head. And the medial head is a flat muscle that kind of curls deep to the long head. So we have the lateral head, long head, medial head. So on the forearm, if we start on the forearm, here your PF muscles, so the 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of superficial muscles. This is pronator teres. This is flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor carpi ulnaris, right? So if we look at it, the radius is on the thumb side, the ulna is on the pinky side. What you see in between the tendons here is a intermediate muscle, so that's called flexor digitorum superficialis, and that inserts onto the middle phalanx of your digits, 2 through 5. If we were to look underneath that, there is another muscle that does the same thing, flexor digitorum profundus, that will actually insert onto the distal phalanges 2 through 5. This one, so this is your, and this one will flex your thumb, so this is your flexor pollicis longus. And then we have another pronating muscle right here. This is pronator quadratus. It runs transversely, and it just basically runs from your radius to the ulna, and since it pronates, it has to insert onto the radius because the radius will spin. All right, so that's your anterior forearm. Remember that this structure that goes across the wrist, this is called the flexor retinaculum. That forms the carpal tunnel. This group of muscles at the thumb is called the thenar eminence. The group of muscles at the pinky is called the hypothenar eminence. And you just need to know the group names. Then on the back, we want to find the brachioradialis. Brachioradialis is midway between the flexors and extensors. And then we have the extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi radialis brevis. This is extensor digitorum. This is extensor digiti minimi. This is extensor carpi ulnaris. And then finally, back up by the elbow, this is our anconeus. Anconeus helps the triceps to extend the forearm. Deep muscles of the forearm, so we come in here on the back. So I mentioned in a video, S-A-E-E-E. So we have the supinator, we have an abductor pollicis longus, and then all three are extensors: extensor pollicis brevis, extensor pollicis longus, extensor indicis.